Welcome to a special bonus episode of We Interrupt This Broadcast. And Julie, we're going to be talking about Screen Forever.
Yeah, Screen Forever is such an important part of the calendar of our industry. So we want to talk about what it is, who should go, and if you're going, how do you navigate it? Because it can be quite overwhelming. So we brought in a special guest today. It's Leonie from Screen Vixens, who also happens to be our producer. Welcome, Leonie.
Hi, everyone.
Leonie, you were a first-timer at Screen Forever a few years back, but then you also went last year in a different capacity, and it really helped you see the event. So tell us first, what is Screen Forever? What goes on there?
So it's basically Australia's biggest national conference for producers. Having said that, you don't have to be a producer to attend. It really is the most wonderful 3 days of people in the same room. So it's such a great opportunity to reconnect with people, introduce yourself to people. Whether you're a writer, a crew member, a director, I would strongly encourage you, if you've got the budget, to attend, because it's the most incredible networking opportunity for you and your career.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know that there's not just one aspect to Screen Forever. So there's the conference sessions, but there's also this ginormous marketplace that's going on in the background. So meetings, pitch sessions, going out and trying to raise finance for your project. And then there's all of the social events as well. So it's a fantastic opportunity to get to know everyone, know what's happening in the industry, and then celebrate at the SPAR Awards, which always take place on the last night.
So, okay, Leonie, your top 5 tips for surviving. What's number 1?
Okay, so number 1, decide your primary goal and focus for attending. It is quite an investment, especially if you're coming in from interstate with your travel and your accommodation. There's a whole market going on. There's the Ready Steady Pitch, there's the roundtables, there's Spa Connect. That's the real business end. You've also got an incredible program of panels and events that are taking place throughout. And you also have the opportunity to schedule individual meetings with other attendees as part of the conference. There's a bit of FOMO because so much is happening. It's also incredibly tiring. So I would really hold on to your why, your purpose for going, and really sit in that and make sure that you prioritize the things that will help you achieve that key goal.
Yeah, I love that, because you really can sort of find the spa that you want to have. You can just go to back-to-back sessions where you're hearing really great people across the international and domestic market talking about trends and changes and things that are going on, or you can just be pitching your project. And you can have as many meetings as you can. Spa can be a lot of things to a lot of different people. All right, what's number 2?
Number 2, what to wear. So it is on the Gold Coast. It's hot, it's casual, it's fun, it's balmy. There's a lot of shorts. There's dresses and skirts. So have fun during the day. The industry awards on the final night, that is the chance to really dress up. And I really encourage you to do that. It's a really lovely way to acknowledge the incredible work that we've produced throughout the country. But otherwise, enjoy the climate that you're in. Also bring a little something, because you're in and out of the actual conference centre and the AC is roaring in there. So you might get cold if you're inside for a lot of the day.
I think we should just put some boundaries here. This is a no-thong event. So, you're on the Gold
Smart
Coast.
casual.
Keep it a little classy. Smart casual, people. Smart casual.
And what I would add to that as well is comfortable shoes. You're going to be on your feet all day, walking around, potentially back and forth between your accommodation and the conference venue. You do not want to exhaust yourself with blisters on the first day.
Absolutely. What is tip number 3?
Well, that leads in nicely where to stay. The conference itself is in the Star Exhibition Centre, and there is a lot of accommodation 10 to 15, 20 minutes walk away. So again, have a think about how you cope in terms of it being a very high energy, tiring few days in a good way. I personally stayed with some vixens about 15 minutes walk away. I love that. We could see the beach. I did a walk in the beach each morning. However, I would get as close as I could this time. I would pay a bit more money to get as close as I can, because I need those breaks. I need to be able to just quickly go and have a cup of tea on my own, because it's forward-facing the entire time. Is budget the main thing? Is proximity the main thing? Is mental health the main thing? There is a section, there was a special quiet room dedicated in the exhibition centre. That would be a nice place to go as sort of a breakout. But if you can, match your budget to your needs.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I've always stayed in the casino, and I really do find energy-wise, it is the best thing to do. You can get a twin share room. You can split the cost with someone. It's not cheap, but then you're saving on taxi and all kinds of things. So it certainly is really worth being very aware of how far away you are.
Yeah, and I find that if I'm not staying close, then I'm out of my hotel room at 7 a.m. and back at 10 p.m. at night. You just have to build in those little energy breaks for yourself and maybe not attend every session, but find a quiet corner to catch up on emails or go and have a snack or a meal somewhere.
Let's go to tip number 4.
Number 4, what to eat. So if you have bought the full industry badge, you will get your morning tea and afternoon tea and lunch provided as part of the conference. So you just need to cover breakfast and dinner. Also, that conference badge will give you a ticket to the opening night drinks on the first night and also your industry awards ticket. And that includes a really wonderful after party that has finger food and drinks.
Yeah, I tend to find myself not really eating a lot outside of those sessions. I might go to a supermarket the day I arrive and pick up some bits and pieces for breakfast. And then I just snack throughout the day and have the conference lunch. But I do make an exception because you do have that wonderful Vixen's dinner. It's always a great night to catch up with everybody and just enjoy a meal and some sit down time.
Kirsty, we were talking the other day about conferences and how to make the most of them. And I've been to the last 3 Screen Forevers as head of scripted, so commissioner. So back-to-back meetings. I think we should talk about that.
Yeah, I have a sneaky trick as a producer, and I recognize that they're often sitting there all day and don't have the chance to take a break. So I'll often have some muesli bars, some chocolate bars, some little snacks in my bag. And you sit down and you go, oh, how are you? And they're like, oh, a bit tired. I haven't had a chance to have a break. I'm like, oh, would you like a snack? And you just pull it out as though you happen to have it in your bag, and it gets you on side and opens up that more relaxed atmosphere to then be able to have a conversation about your project.
I love that because it was such a privilege being a commissioner in this country, or that's certainly how I felt about it. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to make sure every second of my day was filled with listening, meeting people, letting people talk to me about their ideas and building those relationships. But, you know, you're exhausted. Being aware, I guess, of what other people are doing. Like one of my little tips, and I've heard other people say this that are in those sort of commissioner roles or in production company roles that are a bit more high profile, is don't grab someone in the toilets. You know, those sorts of things are really important because everyone's only human and everyone is stretched, particularly as the days go on. So, you know, having that sense, it's so tempting. It can be such an opportunity when someone's sitting there at the base and you're like, by chance to tell them who I am, but just don't. What is tip number 5?
Last tip, what to bring. Am I bringing a business card? Am I bringing paper materials? I didn't have anything to pitch last year, but I wish I had had a business card. Something to very quickly hand the other person with your best contact details on. A lot of this conference takes place in the space in between. They were the times I was having my best conversations at the tea urn or lining up for lunch or walking in. So you need something very quick and easy because suddenly the bell will ring and the next panel's on or you've got to go to a meeting. Something super quick you can hand someone. And it's so nice at the end too. I had a stack of actual business cards, which I could then do all my follow-ups really easily as opposed to notes everywhere and not really having a good system in place.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think the other thing is to realise that while you make lots of great connections at Screen Forever, that week after that follow-up week is really important. And, you know, you can get most people's emails or work them out if you haven't managed to get them as well. But if you have something of quality and value to offer up, in terms of follow-up, that's the time to do it. I wouldn't send an email during the conference, but make a note for yourself and do it as a follow-up.
And I'd be keen to get your perspective on pitching as well, Julie. As a producer, I always preferred to just go in and have a conversation, build the relationship, talk about the project, but not necessarily be doing a formal pitch or presenting materials within those meetings because they're so short. What do you prefer to see?
I think that's a great question. I think it's probably a bit different for everyone, but often you only have 15 minutes. So I think I would have like a 2-minute pitch to say, hey, if you're interested, I can send you some follow-up material. No one's going to want to read anything that week or read anything at that point. But if you have a really solid verbal pitch, and it's something that I've been working with a lot of people in Australia to help us to do. Shonda Rhimes, for example, talks about a lot of people pitch the idea but don't pitch the story. And it's a really good test because if you can't pitch your story briefly, you don't yet know what it is. That's really important. Making sure that it's a good fit for the person that you're speaking to. And also the other thing is using great language. So I really do believe in rehearsing a verbal pitch that has exciting language in it, that has evocative language in it, you know, and again, I think having been in the great privileged position of seeing a lot of people in Australia pitch, I know that's something we can do better as Australians and it's not hard to do. just the way that you language things in a verbal pitch can create so much power. So that would be my tip.
Yeah. And for me as a producer, I'm always more interested in hearing what's the context for the story world? What are the key themes? What are the dramatic questions that are going to excite me? And I want to be at a point where I'm building on their idea and excitedly having an animated conversation. I don't want to be hearing the play-by-play of what happens in every act or in every episode.
You just can't absorb it in an environment like that. And overall, when you're pitching, remember the 3 things that anyone that you're pitching to is going to be thinking. Is it a great story? Is it right for them, whether they're a producer or a network? And the third thing is, can you deliver? So they're always the 3 things that you come back that you want to be demonstrating to someone in the brief time that you have with them.
And you can research all of the speaker and roundtable participants ahead of time. So have a look at their companies, look at what they've commissioned in the past, get a sense of whether you really are the right fit for that project. And if you're not quite up to the level that they may be expecting, then go and pitch to producers or bigger production companies and see who you can team up with to bring that project to life.
Yeah, we should also mention that Screen Forever have some really great introductory programs that we'll put links to in the show notes. But we'll all be there, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah, come and say hello. So it's Screen Forever on the Gold Coast. They have an online global market that's on the 29th and 30th of April. And then the conference and market in person are from the 6th to 8th of May.
Thanks for joining us, Leonie, producer extraordinaire.
Thank you for having me. See you on the Gold Coast.
See you there.
We Interrupt This broadcast is recorded on the unceded lands of the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation and the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains, and we acknowledge them as the traditional custodians and first storytellers of these regions. Always was, always will be.
This episode was brought to you by Screen Vixens, Expanding Media and Crew HQ. We Interrupt This broadcast is hosted by Julie Eckersley and Kirsty Stark and produced and edited by Leonie Marsh.